Okay, so picture this. It's the 1960s, you're feeling a little off, so you go see a therapist.
Mm.
But here's the catch another. Your therapist is a chatbot.
Really?
Yeah, it sounds like something out of science fiction,
Well, it
right?
does.
But this is actually a real thing. Eliza, one of the earliest attempts at using AI in mental health.
Wow, Eliza. That's fascinating. I mean, it really shows how long we've been grappling with this idea of technology intersecting with healthcare, even in those early days.
Totally, and it's not just some far-off fantasy anymore. I mean,
Huh?
AI is already making waves in hospitals right now.
It is. We're seeing it being used in a wide range of applications in hospitals. One of the most notable areas is in radiology, where AI can now analyze medical images like X-rays and CT scans.
Yeah. One of the tools I read about IBM Watson for oncology, it's like having this genius sidekick for oncologists.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredible technology, really. Essentially, what Watson for Oncology does is it takes into account the patient's medical history, their genetic information, and even the latest research and clinical trials to help personalize cancer treatments.
So it's like having a team of experts working behind the scenes to come up with the best possible plan for each patient.
Exactly. And that's really the power of AI, right? It can
Yeah.
process and analyze vast amounts of data, far more than any human could ever hope to, and then use that to provide insights that can lead to more effective treatments.
That's amazing. But even with something as advanced as Watson, I imagine there are still, you know, challenges and limitations.
Of course. It's
Yeah.
still a developing technology, and there's always room for improvement. One of the key challenges is ensuring that these AI tools are accessible to everyone, not just those in wealthy hospitals or countries.
That's a really good point. We need to make sure that these advancements benefit all of humanity, not just a select few. Okay, so we've talked about Watson for oncology, but there are other AI tools already out there making a real difference, right?
Absolutely.
What about IDXDR? It's focused on eye health, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, IDXDR is a great example of AI being used for early detection and prevention of disease.
So how does it actually work?
Basically, it can analyze images of the retina taken with a special camera and detect signs of diabetic retinopathy, which is a leading cause of vision loss. And what's remarkable is that it can often detect these signs even before a patient experiences any noticeable symptoms.
Wow, that's incredible. And I read that it's already FDA approved, right?
It is. It means it's not just some experimental technology. It's actually being used in real-world settings to help prevent blindness.
That's huge. It makes you wonder what else AI will be able to diagnose in the future. Speaking of the future, there's another tool I read about, Index.
Yes, Index.
It's like having a super-powered medical image analyst, right?
That's a great way to put it. Index is fascinating because it can analyze a wide range of medical images like X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, you name it. And it can do it much faster than humans, often with a higher degree of accuracy as well.
I imagine that speed could be crucial, especially in emergencies.
Absolutely. Think about a situation where someone comes into the ER after a car accident. Every second counts, and having Index there to analyze those scans quickly and accurately could mean the difference between life and death.
Wow. It's clear that these tools are already making a huge impact in healthcare.
They are.
But it also sounds like we're just starting to scratch the surface of what AI can do.
Oh, absolutely. We're really just at the tip of the iceberg. Research is constantly pushing the boundaries, exploring even more sophisticated AI applications in healthcare.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What has you, the expert, totally geeking out? What's on the cutting edge?
Well, one area I find particularly exciting is the development of adaptive algorithms.
Adaptive algorithms. What are those?
So imagine an AI that, as it analyzes more and more patient data, it actually learns from that data and refines its own algorithms to become even more accurate in its diagnoses and treatment recommendations.
So it's like having an AI doctor that gets smarter over time?
That's a great way to put it. It's like having this constantly evolving intelligence working behind the scenes to improve healthcare.
Wow. But honestly, that's both fascinating and a little unnerving. I mean, it's like having an AI doctor who knows more about your health than you do.
It's true. It does raise some interesting questions about the role of AI in medicine and how much we're willing to entrust to these technologies. But I think if we proceed with caution and prioritize ethical considerations, these adaptive algorithms have the potential to revolutionize healthcare.
So it's like having a personal AI doctor who's constantly learning and evolving its understanding of your health to provide the best possible care.
In a sense, yes. It's about leveraging the power of AI to personalize medicine to a level we've never seen before. But it's important to remember that these AI systems are still tools.
Tools, right?
Tools. They're designed to assist healthcare professionals. not to replace that crucial human touch, the empathy, and the critical thinking that are essential to good medicine.
That's a really good point. So with AI getting smarter all the time, what does the future hold for doctors?
Mm.
Will they need to, like, adapt their skills to thrive in this new world of AI-driven diagnostics?
That's a great question, and one that a lot of people are asking right now. It really is the big question on everyone's minds right now, isn't it? And the answer, I think, is both yes and no.
How do you mean?
Well, yes, doctors will absolutely need to adapt. It's not about being replaced by AI, but about working alongside it.
So more of a partnership than a takeover.
Exactly. Just like any new tool or technology, doctors will need to learn how to interpret the insights AI provides.
Right, because AI can analyze all the data, but it's still up to the doctor to know how to use that information to make the best decisions for each patient.
You got it. It's about combining the strengths of both human expertise and AI's analytical power.
Which makes me think, we've been talking about these pretty sophisticated diagnostic tools being used in hospitals and clinics. But what about the average person at home? Like, I've seen ads for those symptom checker apps. Have you seen those?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You just type in your symptoms, and it spits out a possible diagnosis. It seems almost too good to be true.
It's definitely an interesting development, that's for sure. And it speaks to this larger trend of, AI making healthcare more accessible to everyone.
Yeah. It's like putting the power of diagnostics directly into the hands of patients. But I mean, on the flip side, how reliable are these consumer-facing AI tools?
That's a great question. And like with any health information you find online, it's important to be cautious. I mean, these tools can be helpful for like understanding your symptoms or maybe deciding whether to see a doctor,
Right.
but they should never be a substitute for actual medical advice from a qualified professional.
So it's more of a starting point than a definitive answer.
Exactly. It's
Yep.
all about finding that balance,
Yeah.
empowering people to take control of their health, but also making sure they understand the limitations of these tools.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room, right? The question everyone's wondering, are robots going to replace doctors entirely?
This is the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
And it's understandable why people are concerned. We've seen it in movies, read about it in books, this idea of robots taking over.
Totally.
But honestly, from what I've seen in the research and how the field is developing, I think it's highly unlikely that AI will ever fully replace doctors.
Okay, that's reassuring to hear. So if it's not about replacement, what is it about then? What role do you see AI playing in the future of healthcare?
Well, to me, it's about evolution, not eradication. Think of AI as this incredible assistant for doctors.
Citizen. Okay.
Exactly. It can take over tasks that are honestly pretty time-consuming for doctors right now, like analyzing those huge data sets, spotting those subtle patterns in medical images that our human eyes might miss.
Right. So it frees up doctors to actually spend more time with their patients.
You got it. More time for face-to-face interaction, for emotional support, for those nuanced judgments that really do require human intuition and experience.
So it's not about robots performing surgery or making life or death decisions, but about AI working in the background to make healthcare more efficient, more personalized.
Exactly.
Okay. But I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the potential downsides here. Because it can't all be smooth sailing with AI, right? There have to be some challenges, some concerns that we need to address as we move forward.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, AI in healthcare is still a pretty young field. There are bound to be bumps in the road.
So what are some of those bumps? What are some of the challenges that researchers and developers are grappling with right now?
Well, one of the big ones is making sure that these AI systems are rigorously tested.
Oh, right.
We need to know that they're truly accurate and reliable out there in the real world, not just in some lab setting.
Because what works in the lab doesn't always translate perfectly to the complexities of everyday healthcare.
Precisely. We also have to be really mindful about data privacy,
That makes sense.
especially when you're talking about something as sensitive as personal health information.
Right, and we've got to make sure these AI advancements don't just benefit those who can afford it. Accessibility for everyone is key.
100%. It's about making sure AI in healthcare is equitable and benefits all of humanity.
It's almost like we're opening Pandora's box, isn't it?
How so?
Well, AI has this incredible potential to revolutionize healthcare, but we need to be so careful about how we use it.
I completely agree.
Once these advancements are out there, there's no going back.
And that's exactly why it's so important to be having these discussions now, while AI is still being developed.
To sort of ethically and responsibly guide its development.
Exactly. To make sure we're using it for good, for the betterment of humanity.
Well said. Which leads me to a bit of a thought experiment, if you will.
Okay, I'm game.
Let's say AI diagnostics get so good, so precise,
Mm-hmm.
that they can basically predict our future health with almost perfect accuracy.
Wow, okay, I see where you're going with this.
Right. So imagine an algorithm could tell you, you have a 90% chance of developing this particular disease 20 years from now. Would you want to know?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
That is a really, really good question. And to be honest with you, I don't know if there's an easy answer.
Right. Because on the one hand, that kind of knowledge, it could be empowering.
Absolutely.
Knowing your risks allows you to maybe make lifestyle changes,
Exactly.
or consider preventative treatments.
Right. And it gives you the chance to plan for the future, for those potential health challenges that might be down the road.
Total.
And, we've talked about how powerful AI can be at analyzing data. Early detection is key, right?
Right.
And AI could be a game changer when it comes to catching things early on.
But then there's the flip side. Knowing about a health risk 20 years before it might even happen, that's a lot to carry around.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it could create so much anxiety,
Right.
worry, even if it never actually happens.
Yeah, just the stress of what if?
Exactly. And that brings up a whole other set of ethical questions, like how do we even begin to counsel patients
Right.
who are dealing with that kind of information? How do we make sure that knowledge empowers them and doesn't just completely overwhelm them?
It's heavy stuff. I mean, it really highlights this double-edged sword of AI in healthcare. It has the potential for incredible good,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to be so thoughtful, so cautious about how we manage it.
100%. We can't just get caught up in all the exciting possibilities and forget about the potential downsides.
It's like we're walking this tightrope, but it's a conversation worth having, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because these advancements, they're coming whether we're ready or not.
They are, and I think this has been a perfect example of that, this conversation. We've gone from a chatbot therapist in the 60s to AI that could predict our health decades into the future.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it. It really makes you appreciate the power of this technology and also understand the weight of the decisions we have to make moving forward.
Well said.
It's been amazing diving into this with you. AI diagnostics, it's exciting, it's complex. I feel like we've just scratched the surface today.
We've only just begun to explore all the possibilities.
Right. And I hope our listeners will continue to explore it too, because ultimately this technology, it's going to impact all of us.
It will. And the more informed we are, the better prepared we'll be to navigate the future of healthcare.
Couldn't agree more. To our listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.